cobertura do Web Summit Rio 2024 aqui no Startups. Eu estou aqui com o concept da IBEX, que é uma plataforma de transações internacionais usando a Lightning, a rede do Bitcoin, não diretamente o Bitcoin, mas we guys went off the deal. So thank you, Hazem, for being here. Could you just explain, I was telling the audience what you're planning to do, the platform you're building on top of Lightning?
Yes.
Just if you could give some more details, what are you planning to do?
Absolutely. So what we're focused on is building a suite of tools, API tools, to allow any fintech, any financial institution or a multinational that could potentially leverage the power of Lightning Network and the Bitcoin protocol as a global settlement layer. Because we're able to move value, like you mentioned, cross-border with final settlement at any scale. And I think that's very powerful proposition for a lot of businesses.
Would that be like Swift 3.0 or?
Kind of. So we really view this as kind of like a data coordination problem, right? So what's happening in the world today is that you have a bunch of separate financial databases, right? So every bank has their own database. And when you need to move money from one bank to another bank, you come up with the problem of how do you do it? Because banks trust each other to a point. Especially if
they're makers, right?
Yeah. No, especially if you're going like cross-border. Like for example, let's say
Makers you should take caution of these people.
Yeah, but for example, let's say a bank in Guatemala doesn't necessarily trust a bank in Nigeria. A bank in Nigeria doesn't necessarily trust a bank in Guatemala, right? And maybe they trust each other for $10,000, but 10 million, 100 million, it starts to get dicey, right? And so settlement has always been a big issue in the financial world. How do we make sure that you actually give me what you owe me, right? It happens at, the commercial level, so peer-to-peer, but it also happens between institutions, right? And so right now, while our payments are really good, the payment experience today, I would say is very, very good. I mean, you go with a credit card, you tap, you do whatever you want.
No.
But those payments still need to get settled in backend. And in that settlement, there's a lot of inefficiencies. Now, the Bitcoin protocol and the Lightning Network offer a very compelling solution to these settlements because they're moving a true asset, meaning Bitcoin or Satoshis, right? That can be settled instantly. It unlocks a world of possibilities for these databases to coordinate with each other. And that's what we're focusing on. We're giving all of these separate financial databases the capabilities to settle with each other instantly.
So you're a B2B platform?
Yes.
Focused on banks?
Fintechs, so payments as well, payroll companies as well, even multinationals that need to rebalance their books across jurisdictions. This technology could really help.
How many customers do you already have?
Right now, we started small and our business has evolved to this point, right? So in the payments platform that we're running, IBEX Pay, we have around 1,000 or so customers. In the IBEX Health product, which is the API tool, we have right now 6 customers.
Right. You're originally from Guatemala, right?
I am originally from Guatemala, and IBEX was born in Guatemala, but we managed to raise funds from global VCs. So now we have our headquarters in Delaware, is the holding company with subsidiaries in Mexico, El Salvador, and Guatemala.
As I mentioned, El Salvador, you were involved in the Bitcoin currency adoption.
Yes, we were. So oddly enough, like we were very young at that point in time, right? And it was very exciting to be part of it. And we built the first brick and mortar retail POS system that operates with Lightning, but gives you fiat. So whatever you charge in Satoshis, you get instantly converted into your currency. And that became IBEX Pay. At that point, we also were the ones that delivered Lightning functionality to the Chivo wallet, which was the wallet that El Salvador launched. We ran that for the first 3 months of operation, 4 months almost. And that became our IBEX Hub product that we delivered to institutions.
So it was the first use case.
Yes.
Technology.
Yeah.
How was that? Why you want to stay for 4 months, or what happened? And what were the learnings?
So the learnings were, it's not intuitive to do this, right? So we understand we were put under like a fire test from the start, right? Trial by fire. Because we were from one day to another, we went from 0 in transactions to doing like $300,000 or $400,000 per day. So, it was literally like that. But you also saw how efficient this technology was. And you start to experiment with all of the good things that the technology has, and also all of the challenges. Because it's not easy to run a Lightning node or Lightning infrastructure for an individual. We learned that firsthand, how hard it can be. So
that's why you changed B2B?
That because we understand that businesses, they're not gonna want to run their own Lightning infrastructure. This is gonna be like email servers or cloud servers, where you pay somebody else because they can do it faster, safer, more reliable than you will be able to do at less cost, which is what we do.
And you're looking into Brazil, right? This is your first time here?
This is our first time in Brazil. We're very excited about what this technology can do for Latin America, how it can improve all commercial relationships throughout Latin America, because it removes a lot of friction. And money now can move seamlessly and a lot easier from, let's say, Guatemala to Mexico, Mexico to Brazil, Brazil to Chile. Right now, even if we're moving money across our borders, we still have to go through a US bank, through the US dollar.
Yeah.
You don't go Brazil to Chile.
No.
But with this technology, you can.
And what are the advantages of doing that?
Faster, less expensive. You see, most of the time, you see an improvement in your FX rate as well. So you can see savings in your currency conversion.
Just go back to Brazil. What are your plans? You're just
we're right now exploring the landscape, learning. We're in a heavily regulated industry. We understand this. We have licenses in El Salvador. In jurisdictions where we don't have licenses, we work with partners who have licenses, because we are, fully KYC, AML, KYB. Even if we're using this technology, this does not mean we're not travel rule compliant. We have to be. You have to meet all of the international standards for cross-border value payment movement. So, and we do that. So, and we also focus on institutions because of that, because we understand this is not about facilitating obscure or payments or anything like that. This is how do we establish commercial operations that are more efficient between each other.
That's a good distinction, because you want to be regulated.
I don't know that we want to, but we understand that is what it takes. And we understand also that we have no problem KYCing or running AML with institutions and companies, which already do themselves and which makes everybody comfortable to work with.
Right. So this is important. Because making when you talk about crypto and Bitcoin, it scares people, right? Oh,
Yeah.
it's shady. There's no regulation. But if you offer your business proposition, I'm going to deliver you this, and
Yes.
that's
It's going to be fully AML compliant, KYC compliant, travel rule compliant. We don't get away from that. Now, that's not to say that if those regulations went away tomorrow, our service doesn't get better. It would, but that's not the world we live in today. And I'm not gonna be the one that changes it, so to speak. This would have to be like an industry effort. Like banks would have to like go and say, listen, we gotta tone down the situation. But the cool thing about this technology is that payments become more granular. And so what's interesting is like, the analogy I like to use is the same as the internet changed long distance. Because now an international call, a Google Meet, looks the same whether you're next to each other or the other person is in Japan. The payments over Lightning Network and Bitcoin protocol look exactly the same whether we're in person or you're in Japan. So you can do global payments and it's going to be indistinguishable from a local payment.
right.
And so that granularity starts to happen.
And that happens about a company never touching a Bitcoin, right?
Exactly. So that's kind of what we bring to the table is that bridge between Bitcoin and fiat.
I can use fiat currency, I'll pay reais, and my customer or whatever, they'll get their local currency.
Their local currency. Yeah, banks don't have to touch Bitcoin. Fintechs don't have to touch Bitcoin. We're really leveraging this technology as a pure settlement mechanism. So we use it as a database.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gustavo. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Continue acompanhando a cobertura do Web Summit Rio 2024 aqui em Startups no nosso canal do YouTube, também nas redes sociais, na nossa newsletter e, claro, no site startups.com.br. Valeu!